Hey everyone, I know it has been a month since I've done any kind of good quality video. Now I'm just uploading the duels, and so I wanted to bring you guys this. So, apologize for the month off. It's just sometimes things get crazy. I don't want to bring a bunch of excuses for why I took some time off, but I'm back. Which is funny because today is Thursday, and I'm leaving on Sunday for 2 weeks, so I won't be able to do anything during that time either. Okay, this is the September 8th regionals in Tulsa that if you follow me and you follow Kiko, you know that he topped, and I did as well with this deck. As you can see out here, I call it MacGear. It's just a funny name I came up with Curry, Machina, and Gears. So, or I should say Gear. So here it is. You guys may be growing tired of this deck, but don't forget this was out. I built this in May, and I have the PMs from a guy online to help me prove that. Let me see if I can pull that up here real quick. You guys get to watch. This inbox is now at like 20. I had over 1,500. And where is he? Oh, page 2. So I was talking to this guy right here back in May 5th, and he gave me his deck profile, as you can see here. And so I didn't like a lot of this, and I didn't like that in the main deck, and I didn't like those in the main deck, so I swatched those out for Baylor's. Okay, so as you can see, we were talking about it. I was getting some ideas. I liked how it worked, and talked to him for a little bit. So anyway, enough about that. And I worked on it ever since, and this is what I came up with. This is what I came up with way before the YCS Toronto, before I knew what anybody else was doing. Nobody in my locals had even talked about Gears. And of course, what sucks is when I'm standing in line to enter that day, I'm talking to one of my friends about it, Richard Brown, and he, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm already building that." And I'm talking to Kiko, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard about this," and that, and it sucked because everybody thought I just net decked. So that's one of those things about Yu-Gi-Oh! I really hate is that people call you a net decker until you prove it. So there was my proof. Okay, so here is why I made the decisions I made. I'm sure you've already looked over the whole deck, but let me explain. Okay, we all know how the Machina, I call that like a little engine. We know how that works. A lot of people think that I should have ran 3-gear frame, and yes, there was a couple times where I wish I had 3-gear frame, but honestly, it was very rare that I had a game where one of my fortresses was in the deck. They were always out. You got to play the cannon, just because it's cannon and it has an ability to special summon if you want to, where Machine of Force does not. So I like it a lot better. Let's see what else. Okay. We all know how the Gear engine works, and that is Arsenal, Accelerator, and Armor. You got to play 3 Armor, and you got to play 3 Accelerator. I only played 2 Arsenal because I needed the room, and because I didn't find myself in desperate need of it. You've got this card to help you search, and you've got Gearmar to help you search, and then you've got Gearganex down here to help you search. And I just didn't think I needed 3 of these. And since I always tribute him off, I just didn't like it. I took that out instead for this guy. So the reason he's in there is threefold. One, he is a good card just to summon. You summon him, you special summon your armor from the graveyard, use his ability to flip itself down, and that's a +1 in my opinion. Actually, you could consider that a +2 because you get a monster on the field, and then hopefully you get the monster from the armor when it is destroyed, flipped up, whatever. Second reason he's in here, when Gearganex dies, he can only special summon a level 3 or lower Gear monster. You see that? Well, you see it, yeah. That's a problem, because there is none in the deck the way it's built that a lot of people play. Now, this is not a great ability because it special summons him. He doesn't do anything when he's specialed. But he is something on the field for in case they have another attack, or I want to, synchro next turn or exceed. which I hardly ever, I don't think I ever exceeded into any threes. Yeah, I don't even have any ranked threes. Fourth reason he's in there is because I was trying to make Barkion. This guy plus this guy equals Barkion, and I love Barkion. He's hard to play around, and yes, Darkhold exists, but it's just one of those things where I was trying pretty hard to get that to work, and I did play Barkion at the tournament, and now I have Gaia in his replacement. I wish I'd had Gaia. Would have been so much easier to make because of the Birdman into that combo actually did happen with MK2. Okay, because I'm playing the Carrot Curry build, I went with 1 Watchdog and 2 Strategist. I wish I had played 2 Watchdog and 1 Strategist, but I say that afterwards because I wish I could have exceeded with him to do more plays when I was in a tough spot, not because he is any worse. He is actually a little better in some regards in the fact that I can use his ability with the face on armor to use to flip up armor, and I still have my beret ability to maybe change my opponent's monster into defense mode. So he's a plus in that regard. Other than that, I didn't, as you can see down here, I didn't put any rank 3s. I didn't really trust that I would be doing anything. Okay, 2 Veilers instead of 3. That's a room issue. Just didn't have the room. And it proved fine. It really did really well. I mean, I have enough back row to handle it. You got your staples all across the board here. I'm really not going to explain that entire top row, except maybe Avarice is not a staple. It was in this deck because of once you go off, if they stop it for any reason, or let's say you want to reload your Machina engine, it's a good card to have, and it was always very helpful. It was never hardly ever dead unless you drew it opening turn. And once you got like 2 turns in, it was live, so it was great. Mind Control with all your tuners and your common level 3s and 4s because you have so many 3s and 4s, and that's what most people use. Great card, Exceed and steal stuff. 2 Lances. Gosh, I really thought I only had 1 Lance. I guess I had 2. But this card saved my butt 1,000 times. Can't even tell you how many times. You could probably go down to 1, but Book of Moon is a staple in my opinion, and it was great with this deck because of armor. No reason not to run it. 2 Mirror Force. Don't forget, once again, this is September 8th. This is the week after the format changed, and a lot of people weren't running 2 Mirror Forces. So not that this was some awesome tech that I came up with a great idea, but what it was you got to remember how many years we've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh without that, without 2 Mirror Forces in people's decks. Come on, guys. It took people by surprise because it was new. 1 Torrential. There was times where I wish I had 2. But most of my monsters can run over anything out there, and if they can't, berets can switch them to defense. It was fine. Or even strategists could switch it to defense. So, and I've got Mind Control, Lance to make them smaller, whatever. There was a lot of answers with the deck. As you can see, no Solemn Brigade, and you're going to wonder how I made the top with no Solemn Brigade. Okay, I'll try to make this as short an explanation as I can. Solemn Brigade is great for a lot of decks. I didn't need it with this one because for me, personally, after playing this deck with the Solemn Brigade for a while, I noticed that Solemn Judgment I was usually almost always using it for spell and trap negation. Whenever they would play their warning or their spell, Mirror Force, whatever, I would negate it with Solemn Judgment. Or they would play their heavy and I would negate it with Solemn Judgment when I didn't have the road. So I decided just to put in Broad. Yes, it's a positive for my opponent, but which is more of a positive? Half your life points or a card? Most of the time it's going to be half your life is going to help them out more. The reason warnings aren't in there is because you've got Compulse, which I had that at 2, and if I could change anything, I would probably take out the MK2 for the second Compulse like I originally had it. But I did okay without it, obviously. X2, so did well. Bottomless, Deep Prison, and Compulse. I've never in my life until this deck ran 1 of each thing. I always run 2 of minimum of everything. It worked really well. And of course, the Starlight Road, I think I brought out Stardust Dragon 4 or 5 times in 8 rounds of play. So pretty darn well. Okay, real quick, side deck choices. I knew Chain Burn and Phoenix Chain, or at least I expected them to be really big in the format because of how much the Balance didn't touch them. So I only put in 2 Decree and a Genzo. The reason was 3 Decree is fine, but they're going to side in their spaces and whatever extra on top of that, Silver Sentinels, whatever, to get rid of your Decrees. And yes, Silver Sentinel gets rid of Genzo too, but their MSTs, Night Beams, Dust Tornadoes, whatever they're going to play, doesn't touch Genzo. And also, a lot of the burn players put in Lava Golems, but they don't put in Volcanic Queens in their side. So Genzo would have sat up there forever until they got their Dark Hole. So, and of course I have Lance. So I would just sit on that Lance and wait on it and wait. So this is for obviously Dark World, GKs with their Royal Tribute, whatever. I just and I did get Windup looped. I just didn't draw this in time. The 2 Max Cs saved my butt quite a few times, like with E-Heroes, and I don't really need Valor so much. I threw in the Max Cs. And you're thinking, well, why did you throw in Max Cs? You couldn't get anything with the Max Cs that's going to save you. Okay, true, but I play a lot of back row and lances and books and things to stop them, so it worked. And then, of course, the 3rd Valor, which was a very good choice. Prohibition, is that ever a bad choice? My friend plays 2, and he did really well. If I had to change anything, I would check out Chain Disappearance for a second Prohibition. Rivalries is because I play all machines, and Windups and a lot of other players play different things. I was scared of Dark World. And I didn't, I respected what they could do. GK's obviously screwed me up bad with my with Necro Valley, and even though this doesn't touch Necro Valley, I need to be able to do certain things with my graveyard, and I just hate Dark World most of all. The Threatening Roars I sided into quicker than anything else out of this whole extra deck, or excuse me, side deck. And I can't stress enough, try it out. Try 2 in your side and throw them in there. I think you'll be very pleased. Okay, the 2 7s, that makes sense. Big Eye was phenomenal. You've got to own one, get one now. I don't know if they're going to go up, but they're sure as heck a staple if you can even make a 7 or come close to it. Especially if you play, I don't know, Trag. So Pearl won me at least 1 game, I think 2. And Utopia brought out 3 or 4 times. I only decided you need 2 Gear Nexus, you don't need 3, which luckily I found that out right before the tournament because I put in this guy, or girl I should say, Assassin Butterfly, fantastic card, just amazing. I also used it offensively, not just defensively. And of course you got to run the Shockmaster. I only made that once or twice. Okay. Got to run those 2 big guys as your 8s. And then because you're on the Karakuri's, you got a 1 Rito and 2 Berets. I wish I had done the 1 Beret and 2 Burritos because the draw power and because he's 2800 gets over Gores. It's a very big deal. I can't stress enough, it's a very big deal. I already talked about Gaia, and then of course you have to run Cataster. Yes, I wish there was more room. I guess I could take out Pearl or Gaia Dragon for something else down here. Black Rose would be easy to make, and there was twice that I needed Black Rose. So, all right, guys, I know this video is long, and there's the deck. Wow, 14 minutes. I apologize, and tune in soon for my tournament report video, the step-by-step through each round. Thanks for watching, guys. Please click that like button. Take care.